everyone. Hopefully you had a lot of fun in that hot soup that we were eating. And continue to comment and let us know which side of the hot soup you were on. But on that note, we'll move on to this other side of the conversation that we were having earlier, which is Africans celebrating success. And we have several scenarios that we want to share with you guys, and you let us know what you think, and we'll also give our opinions. So the first scenario is, we saw this on Facebook. Somebody was complaining about this, and it was a South African guy. Not saying anything, Amina, we just saying, right? It was a South African guy. So he went out with this Kenyan woman and gave his credentials and actually told his title and actually made it seem like it was more than what it actually is. The Kenyan girl got upset later when she actually found out what his true title was, which was way less than what he made it to seem like. She was not happy about it, and I think she was ready to pretty much dump him after that. What do you guys think about this? Has this happened to you? Because it's also the opposite of what we were talking about, and I could see Amy doing something like this, where you would say your achievement. Just say.
I don't want to date any guy who wants to make themselves bigger than they are. The fact of the matter is, I actually don't talk to guys who come at me, even though we're talking about like people actually talking about their titles. I don't think in a dating scene I want that. Like, I don't want you to come and tell me, oh, like, do you know me? Like, I'm this. Like, it has happened to me. Like, a guy told me, I was like, yeah, I'm parked over there, that Range Rover. Like, you lost me. Okay, first of all, I'm done. Don't talk to me anymore. Like, I'm like, I don't care if you park a Range Rover. Like, it's not mine.
So you see, guys, Amy can do it, but men are not allowed to do it to her. Because I remember Amy. No, hold your horses. I remember this guy wanted to date you, and then I think he started sending you pictures of his house, his car, and then you send me all that, and you're like, Juka, I'm not gonna talk to him. I was like, Amy, just give him a chance. What does that have to do? No, he's full of himself. I can tell it's not gonna work already. He's a show off.
Hold on. We should be.
She knows what I'm gonna say.
Victor, you're a guy. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Victor. Victor, you're a guy. When it comes to like basically putting out what you do out there, which is what we're talking about today, it's a total different thing when you are actually asking a woman out. Let me tell you this, right? When you have a resume, when you have your resume and going to look for a job, I think these are things that we're talking about. Say who you are, proudly celebrate your achievements. You are coming to talk to me, to date me. I don't need you to proudly celebrate your achievements to me. I don't care.
You are wrong. You are basically, everything you said, you just canceled it.
I disagree with you. I don't mind you celebrating yourself after when we are actually together. But when you're trying to talk to me and telling me who your mother is, your father, or your face.
Amina, so you're gonna let us know if that's correct. So only show it this time, but when you're trying to talk to Amy, coil it, don't show it.
You say coil it. I don't want to hear about it. All I want to know right now is, what's your name? Where you're from? You are interested in me? Let's have a conversation. Let's talk. The moment you start telling me, oh, my car, my house, my Lambo, you're cut. I don't want you.
Amy, okay. So I'm gonna let somebody else sip on that tea, because I think she's confused. Dr. J, you were saying I'm confused. Your other sister is real confused. Go ahead.
No, I think you're confused. I tend to agree with Amy because because I think if you're trying to get in a relationship, it should not be based on your achievements or your wealth. Tell me what you can bring in this relationship and what I can bring into your life. Like, you bringing in your credentials and telling me your house and telling me all this, you're actually trying to buy me. So you're not actually that's even crazy for a man to do, because you can have the wrong person be in your life when they're not even in love with you, and all they're after is your wealth.
Okay. So success is not to be said, it's to be seen. If I see you and your face and your mannerisms, I can tell you're successful. I don't need to see it. I don't need to see it.
Amy, if I look at your shoes, I can tell if you're successful.
I can tell you you're successful. Don't worry. You don't need to tell. Don't tell me.
Let's move on. If you're watching, go ahead and comment below. And also, if you're a guy, when you DM Amy, don't show everything you got. Hide it.
Please.
And let's see because we were talking about, are you going to date broke men? So let's see if you will actually answer to that. But anyways, I don't know. Victor, you're the guy here. what do you think about this?
So there's a difference between when you're trying to talk about your achievement to the world, right? And you're trying to tell them about what you've done and what you become, right? It's a different ball game. All right. I'm engaged, and at the time I was going to propose to my fiancée, I wasn't going to start telling her, you know what, I'm the CEO of this, I'm a co-founder of this, I'm a co-founder of this. As at that moment, I was a co-founder of about 7 companies, right? Within Nigeria, in Kenya, and Sierra Leone. But that was not the time to talk about all that. Because it will look as if I wanted to believe in what I've got in terms of value, not about who I am as a person. So at that moment, it was just about, this is who I am, this is what I do, or this is what I believe, this is my future, this is my vision, and all that. So I talk more in terms of vision. I talk about vision than I talk about what I've achieved and so on. So, and many of the times, you as a man, you don't really want to get the wrong impression out there. And you know what, I just want to take out what I have. So I think I'm going to agree with Amy on this. Only want to say a few things to give an insight in the fact that this guy is not pushing wheelbarrow somewhere, right? You want to just give some kind of impression, not necessarily impression, but a few things to say, okay, this is who I am, and you're talking about a normal level, not being flamboyant.
Okay, Victor, I'm glad you sided with Amy there. So, Amina, what do you think of all of this that we're talking? Is the guy wrong? And also, is Amy's perspective okay for us to also look at it that way? That don't show off when you come to us, when you're trying to date us.
Because I'm listening to the vlogger saying, don't show me your stuff. Then I'm listening to the guy saying, I was a co-founder of businesses in Kenya and Nigeria, and dropping like countries' names, you know? And this is a conversation about how are you supposed to be putting your achievements forward? And we're just like, no, don't, but do it in this context. And that's exactly the problem. It's like, there's so much red tape about how you're supposed to put yourself out there, you know? This is why I'm just like, okay, I'm floating on neutral ground because there's so much red tape. And I'm just thinking about, Victor said, I kind of gave a hint so that she can have some insight into my capabilities.
It looks like, it looks like you're trying to side with Joker's end, but you're trying to keep it a neutral ground because you're trying to keep it safe.
I'm in the middle.
No, you are trying to keep it safe. For me, my take is this is a sign of insecurity when a man comes to tell you what they have, they're insecure.
That's a big generalization. You know what? Honestly, if you think about inferiority and superiority, there are elements of that, right? This is not black and white. It's like a mess, right? But what I'm saying is your perception of that person and even the way they put it forward is how you're going to then interpret whether this person's being boastful or they're being confident. Because we want people to be confident, we just don't want them to be arrogant.
If you're watching, make sure you let us know what you really think about this conversation that we're having, and go ahead and also take the second and share this video with your community so we can expand the Sister Show community, as we always said, right? So then are we saying that it's okay for the guy to say, this is my name, and then this is what I do, these are my goals, and this is, career-wise, like I'm the CEO of blah, 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 or I run this or whatever, but maybe to not really outline all the things that you have.
Listen, it's very okay for you. You see, you had a point. It's how you basically put it on the table. It's how you serve the meal. Okay, are you serving the starter, the main course, and the dessert all in one plate, or are we going to put it in layers? Are you going to bring the starter, you bring the main course, and you give me the dessert?
Like Victor did.
Yeah, like Victor did. This was very smart, right?
I think the whole thing is that Amy doesn't want two braggadocious people in the same house. That's what she's saying, right?
Hold on. Let me sip on that. Mm-hmm.
But apart from that, Amy, I'm just teasing you. I know you don't brag. You're too modest for that.
The shades.
I'm with Amina here, right? It's pretty much like how you present it, in what context. But to me, I think the basic question you could ask was, is it right for this guy to kind of lie, which is pretty much what he's doing? There's a serious issue here because if you're starting a relationship on a lie, it's not going to end well. Right? So to me, that's kind of like, it doesn't matter like whether he's bragging or what not, whether he has it, he doesn't have it. But the whole issue with me is that he's starting this relationship on a lie, and he's probably going to try to keep up with that lie like over and over, and it's just going to get was.
But if he had it, what is your take? If he has it, should he?
If he has it, I think it depends on the context, like how you present it, right?
Do you guys think that maybe because of our culture, that embedded psychology, like that Amina was talking about, some of the issues that we've had growing up and our great-great-grandparents had and all that stuff, maybe do you guys think that that has an influence on how we are receiving that message? Or do you guys think that if it was someone from the West, they actually wouldn't even look at it the way we are looking at it?
For us, I think psychologically, it's a little bit harder for us to even receive it to even a more further extent, to the point that we may not even consider dating you.
Yeah.
The Western person may even consider dating you because they accept it. For us, that's a flamboyant, bragging man that you want nothing to do with them, because to us, that's obviously not something acceptable in our culture.
But let's not downplay the fact that they're a woman who actually, this is what turns them on too. Like, if you don't come and brag to them, they don't want you. I think the men just need to probably just be psychologists too and start looking to see what woman is going to accept what. So I think for me, I get a lot of that because most men look at me and then they think like,
that's going to impress you.
She's all about the lifestyle. And what they don't understand is like, once you start talking that nonsense, you're cut.
So don't you guys think maybe that's why, one of the reasons why Amy is still single? Because if you think about it, she puts it out there that that's what she is into, but really on the subconscious is not into that, right? So then she's attracting the guys that want to show off, and then those guys, she cuts them off, and then the humble ones are not going to come because you are boom. Shut your fears.
No, that's not what I put there. I'm not putting out there that that's who I'm interested in. You look at me and you see, oh, she looks well kept. This well kept is financed fully by myself. You don't need to come here and brag. There's nothing you can do here that I cannot do.
There's nothing you can do here that she cannot do. So don't come and brag.
She just dropped the mic.
Okay.
Right. Independent Black woman.
There's nothing you can do here that she cannot do. So on that note, continue to comment and hopefully you're enjoying this conversation right here on the Sister Show.
In Africa, there's also this belief that when a woman is too successful, or like when a woman has a PhD, when she got some vehicles and all that, she's not going to get a man to marry. Now, I think that's also another psychological side that they use to actually make the women not fight for their best and so on. So I'm going to say that it's not even the woman understanding how to also be courageous and not necessarily be flamboyant. So we have to be able to walk, on those two, on that line, so that you're not telling everyone, this is who I am unconsciously, while actually you mean something else. And we have to be able to tell our stories in such a way that you are not wrongly perceived, you are seen for who you are.
I like what you just said there, to be authentic and show who you are. Don't coil it, but then don't also over-exaggerate it. So this is the last part of this conversation before we move on to the next segment of the show. So this is a question we have. Do you all think that young generation of Africans view wealth from a materialistic perspective, like based on the number of assets we accumulate? Or is this like a universal issue for all young generation? Or what do you guys make of this?
I think it's this generation. I think it's the Instagram generation, it's the social media generation, whereby everyone thinks the more you show, the more luxury you show, that's how wealthy you are, when it's total opposite.
So says the lady that showed her Mercedes, Ole. But go ahead.
No, but this is the thing. I didn't show my Mercedes and say, check it out, I just bought it. I'm still broke. What? Who said I was rich?
Yeah, go ahead and send me that money too. No kidding.
No, but who said I was rich? Like, I'm broke, right? And I'm part of it. And that's exactly why I'm broke, right? Because the wealthy people are not even on social media in the first place to even showcase what they have and what they don't have. These are the facts, right? The ones that don't have it are the ones that are sitting here and showing it off. We're the ones that are showing the Mercedes, the Chanel bags, the Gucci shoes, the Louis purses, because we think that's how people are going to measure our wealth, how this generation is going to measure our wealth. This is how we feel that we're important. And that's not how wealth is viewed. The people who are wealthy are wearing shorts and playing golf somewhere that nobody is seeing them.
And they're not posting it 24/7, huh?
They're not even there. They don't even know what that means.
I kind of tend to disagree with me. in terms of saying that it's just this generation. I think
I didn't say
over
it's,
time.
I didn't say it's just this generation. It's not just this generation, but
Okay.
definitely
Yeah,
this one is part of it.
it's not just this generation. I think all Black people, I would say, usually measure wealth by the amount of materialistic things that we have, which is being the cars, the big houses,
2 wives if you're African, or 2, 3
Yeah.
wives,
or 3 or 4.
and the
For
belly,
that matter, if
and
you're
the
Muslim.
belly. Hold on, Ole, hold on. And the belly has to come out, right?
This is a very serious matter, actually. Sometime around last year, somebody called me and said, Victor, see your life, because up till now, I'm free to say that. I tell people on my media that I don't have a car. I don't have a car till date, deliberately. All that. So it was like, look at you, what you're wearing. So I told him, I said, sir, I'm sorry, but I don't have a car, but I have tractors that can buy me several cars. So I said, I don't live
Pump that collar, Victor.
Right?
I don't live in a big house. I said, but I got a food factory that makes food.
That's kind of like the mindset of a lot of Black people. It's when you're rich, you have to show it. That's how we actually measure wealth. It's by the number of cars, the number of houses that we have. A couple of years back, I was working for this airline company, and the CEO of the company, I could say the car that I was driving was a little bit better than the CEO of the company. He was driving a Buick, and he could potentially probably buy everything that I have in multiple levels. But he, instead of buying the cars, he's probably investing in stocks, and that's why he owned $1 billion company, right? But he was driving a regular Buick. Whereas if it's a Black person and you're driving a Buick, people will probably think you're crazy. Like, he probably doesn't have that money that he's talking about.
If you think about it, as Africans, a lot of this money is new. Our white counterparts, they've had generations of money. So you're getting an 18-year-old who's getting a car for their birthday, and then you're 28 and you still don't have a car. So you're going to go and get a car. By the time that 18-year-old is now 28, they're not thinking about buying a car because chances are they have property. Chances are they have some stock somewhere. They have that stuff. So, in as much as, yes, I think as Black people, we are a little bit more flashy, and we also don't get that much educated about how to look after our finances. You get the car and you're from a village and you come and you show your car and your whole family is happy. And that's your pride and that's your celebration. And that's you being validated.
So it seems like we are compensating in a different way. We are trying to figure out where else to compensate. Okay, I can't walk around and say who I am, what I do. I can't own up to that, but I can show it in a different way by the cars I have or the house I live in. Almost like that's what it seems like we are doing. But then maybe that's not the right way, because it's leading us to not make the right investments. Is generational wealth, right? So it's like new money, so we are showing it off. So maybe we need to do the opposite, own up to our titles to get us more and move forward more into the careers that we want to be in, or that we are actually in, and then use that money that we are making to invest it wisely instead of being flashy with it. Maybe is that a good formula that we need to start thinking about?
So I think we need to be comfortable enough to ask ourselves, why do we need to be flashy?
I think you hit on something very serious there. As of today, I find it easy to tell you, oh, I'm the CEO of this, I'm the founder of this, I have impacted. I write it on my Clubhouse profile. I serve over 200,000 clients in Nigeria. That is huge, and I'm owning up to that because I'm impacting lives, right? I prefer to tell you the impact I'm making and the lives I'm touching. Oh, the vision I've got. I want to raise $1 million this year. I want to raise $5 million this year to do more impact than to tell you, oh, I own this, I own that, and all that.
But I think as Africans and as Black people and as minorities, it's just about time for us to start looking at what makes more sense. It's time for us to start teaching ourselves, where do we put our money? How do we actually create a generational wealth versus just a wealth for social media? Are you doing this to be happy, or are you doing it just to show off? I think these are the things that we need to start asking ourselves.
Speaking of spending money, and we're going to go ahead and wrap this segment up quickly. What, Victor, Nigerians, where you guys get all that money during weddings, your weddings? Like, seriously, Victor.
I find a lot of people that are not yet financially stable. that because the parents are saying it's time to marry, oh, you are 30 already, go and marry and all that. Some of them go ahead to borrow money, taking about $20,000, $30,000 to do the wedding. In fact, I told myself that my wedding is going to be an online course or something that's going to sponsor it, right? I'm just going to post an online course. I mean, it's not enough. Now, and that is because of where I'm coming from, because I changed that sociocultural stuff. But people borrow to do weddings. It's not saying they have all the money quite a number of times. Yeah.
All I'm saying is when I'm getting married, I'm going to come to Nigeria and have them sponsor my wedding. But before we wrap this conversation up, hopefully you guys are having fun and continue to comment below as well. Do you guys remember, speaking of cultural things, which is what we talked about in the first part of this show, and if you just joined us, make sure you go back at the end of the show to watch that part that we just did. But you guys remember when we first started the show, so I was talking to my mom and she said, somebody called her and said, so to translate for you guys to hear and the audience, Amina and Victor, somebody called my mom and said, are you crazy to allow your children to be on a show, to be doing a show on Facebook and TV and everybody's going to see them? What's wrong with you, mommy? Luckily, my mom is kind of open now because I feel like she's been coming to the West a lot. But if this was old mom, right, before her eyes became open, I think she probably would have called us to tell us to stop doing the show. But I think now she's a little bit more open-minded. She's like, listen, they're grown. I cannot do anything about it. You know what I told my mom? I was like, Mom, you should have probably tell her, if I had the Facebook and the TV, I'll sit down and talk too. Because I know my mom loves to talk. My mom loves to talk and she has a whole lot to say. On that note, let us know what are some of the cultural beliefs that we have that are holding us back.
It's not just African. Even in the Spanish culture, they call it rojos. It's also the evil eye. Like I remember when TJ was playing in his soccer team, when he runs so fast and people start talking about him. I remember one lady came to me and said, oh, you need to get an egg and like put it all over his body and then break it for the rojos. I was like, what rojos? He said, like the evil eye. I was like, okay.
And even Americans believe, like Americans, I'm talking about white people even believe it. They'll be burning sage in their house for the evil to leave. So it's not just an African thing. It's just a human thing. We just believe in God, but we don't trust him, and we're always trying to fight somebody that we don't even know.
It's probably like more common like in the African community, but it's in every other culture, like even Italians, right? I remember one Christmas there was this guy during Christmas time, and I remember one of my colleagues was like, oh, you better not touch that. He's trying to get to an MD level, like a managing director level, and this is his sacrifice. I'm like, what? You guys believe that?
I think for the West is the Illuminatis. They believe in this stuff, but let them be quiet before they come get me. Okay,
yeah, you better.
Have anyone of you guys ever been to Louisiana?
Mm-hmm. Jay has.
What? That's the voodoo island.
Yeah, I've been to Louisiana multiple times.
No, I'm serious. Like, and in the streets, you'll see like fortune tellers with a table, and they charge $10, and you come and sit, and then they legit believe in this thing. Like, there has been shows on TV that show.
You better be quiet because they will take you and make you into a doll and put needles on you, and you.
Okay, she said back. But you know what? Honestly, I think it comes down to the art of manifestation. Really. Is what you believe, what you tell yourself, and you truly believe it, it manifests. If you say that, if I post my picture and if I show my wealth, or if I do this, or if I say what I'm doing or what I'm having, or if we sit on TV and talk, something bad is going to happen to us, something bad is going to happen to me. If I start to think that, because you're manifesting, your thoughts become your reality. But if you just believe, and I actually used to think that. There are a lot of things that I used to think, and then, Ole, you tell me it's in your mind, and you're right. And I'm so grateful you did that, because at some point I started to tell myself, you know what? This is true. It's because I'm manifesting this. So let me break the cycle. And I've literally broken the cycle on a lot of those things based on what you say. Like, do what you're going to do anyways. What's going to happen is going to happen. Like Amy said, trust in God, and that's it. On that note, do you believe that though? Let us know. Do you believe that? Just trust in God and you don't believe in the eye? Right?
Oh, no, the evil eye.
right? Most of our audience, I'm sure, believe in the evil eye. Please, let's break that cycle. I don't believe in any evil eye. Okay, let's go. On that note, we'll wrap this segment up and we'll move on to the next segment. Hopefully, you guys are having a lot of fun. And we're going to kidnap Victor and Amina to cook in this kitchen with us to do the last segment, to go ahead and spice up this hot soup that we have for you guys. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.